Hello and welcome. Today we'll be talking about the Nikkor NU31. This is a headlight that's powered by an internal 1800 milliamp hour lithium-ion battery. The dimensions are going to be 62.3 millimeters by 46 millimeters by 35.6 millimeters, or 2.45 inches by 1.81 inches by 1.40 inches, and that includes the bracket. The weight's going to be 95.5 grams or 3.37 ounces. With the bracket and headband included, that's going to be 76 grams, 2.68 ounces, with the bracket included again. The light has several different LEDs, and some of these LEDs are a red LED, a primary white LED, and an auxiliary white LED, or rather a high CRI LED as they list in the manual. We'll start with the non-red LEDs first. The ultra low starts in the auxiliary white LED, or the high CRI LED, and that's going to start ultra low mode for 6 lumens, and that's going to run for about 147 hours approximately. The next step up would be low mode, and that's going to run for about 50 lumens, and that should be about approximately 42 hours of runtime. Next up, it changes over to the primary white light, and we're going to have a medium mode starting at 60 lumens for 38 hours. Then it jumps up to a high mode for 200 lumens, and that's going to run for about 8 hours. And then finally we have a turbo mode at 550 lumens, and that's going to run for about 5 hours. The red light is going to be running at a constant on for about 5 lumens, and that's approximately 80 hours or so. Then it has a slow flashing mode, which is 10 lumens, and that runs for about approximately 50 hours. There's also an SOS and beacon mode included with the light as well. It's impact resistant to 1 meter. It has IP66 water and weatherproof rating, so it's not fully submergible, but it does resist rain pretty well. It also features a power indicator, which has 4 LEDs in it, and that kind of tells you the status of the battery inside of it and when you are charging it. It also features a lockout and unlockout mode with the UI system. Here we can see the Nikkor NU31, the headband, the USB-C charging cable, the manual, and the box that everything comes in with the literature and the promotions on it. This comes in 3 available colors: blue, orange, and gray. We have the side of the box, the back of the box, the side again, and finally the top and bottom. So that's what you're getting when you get the Nikkor NU31. This is the front of the Nikkor NU31. It has a protective plastic peeling cover on it, which we're going to take off right now, and we can reveal the LEDs there in the center. And we have the high CRI one on this side and the red LED. So let's go there, or rather reverse the red LED and then the high CRI LED on that side, and we rotate via the mode button here. So you can see all the LEDs here. Let's go ahead and turn that off. This is the top of it, which we have both buttons here. We can lock this out by pushing both buttons down, and it should include a lockout signal. And then when you go to access it, it will be locked out. To unlock it, simply push down both buttons again, and it should give you a visual confirmation that's on, and we have the auxiliary or the high CRI on. On the side here, we have the battery level indicator, which should light up once you push the mode button once, and that should be a good indicator, especially when you're charging this via the USB-C port on the bottom here. And we have a good tooth arrangement on here. This does get down pretty flat and low with its angle, almost a 90 degree. It's made out of plastic though, and we also have the literature on the back. It says powered by a built-in lithium-ion battery, 1800 milliamp hours at 3.7 volts. We got the CE and the Made in China logo there. On the back plate, we just have the strap that goes into here. You can pin in another strap if you wanted to. This is just a horizontal strap headlight, and that is pretty much the whole entire deal with the physical form of the light. Let's get into the UI mode, as we shown a little bit earlier. To turn it on, you can simply press and hold down, and you'll get into a low or medium level mode according to the UI. I call it low, medium, and high, but they call it medium, high, and turbo. Whatever it is, it's 3 different modes. If you want to get into, say, the lower mode, double click and you'll get the high CRI or the auxiliary light on, and then you can press the power button on to swap between ultra low and low. So that's how you do it. And if you want to switch over to your main LED, push the mode button, push it again, and you get to the center LED. So we're in medium mode according to the manual, and we're in high mode, and we're in turbo mode. Let's swap over to the red LED. Now to change the mode on the red LED, simply push on the on/off button, and that'll give you a variety there. And we have constant on and the blinking on, which is a little bit brighter, which is nice to have as a signaling light. To switch that over, we go to mode again, and we're back into our standard primary white LED. Now to get into the SOS beacon modes, push down on the mode twice, and we'll get into our beacon mode here. And if we push down on the on/off button, it should switch it to a beacon mode. And that's our beacon mode there. To turn off, simply hold down the on/off button and it will turn off. So pretty fairly straightforward once you get used to the UI system. It's a nice little system they have going on with the NU31. As I've seen, there hasn't been any memory modes on either this or the NU21, which I reviewed earlier. So that is kind of a bummer, but it's understandable for a headlamp. I'm going to go ahead and just get some night shots here on the table to measure the output. Okay, we're back shooting an aperture of 5.0 on a 14 to 42 millimeter lens with the Panasonic GH2. White balance is 5000K with an ISO 160 and 24 frames per second, or a shutter speed of 1/48. And we are in the ultra low mode with the auxiliary LED or the high CRI LED. And we can kind of see, I'm going to hold it above about maybe a foot off the table here just to capture the CRI rating. So according to this, we're in the ballpark of about 85 CRI, which is just below their rating on the cardboard, which is above 90. So we have a CCT of about 4400 and a lux about 95. Let's go ahead and increase that and see what it does here. So the CRI drops a little bit here on 82, and we have the CCT at 4300 and the lux about 792 approximately. Let's go ahead and swap over to our white LED on the medium mode. And we're getting about 50K or 5000K for the CRI, or rather the temperature rating. And the CRI drops down to 59, and the lux is about 5000. Let's go to medium mode. And we're still approximately the same temperature rating. And the lux jumps up to about 20,000, which is nice. And then finally, we're up to 500 lumens, which this cannot measure. And then we'll rotate back down. And we'll swap the modes here. And back to the high CRI. Let's go to ultra low. Again, ultra low. So the CRI, it's about 85. So it's in the ballpark for the ultra low. When it gets a little bit brighter, it loses the color rendering a little bit. And let's just check one more thing here on the BBL. So it's on the greener side of the tint for this LED. If I go back to the lower part, yep, it's still on the greener yellow side. And let's go ahead and swap this over to the white primary. And primary, we're looking at green section of the LED. Again, green. No longer can measure it. So it's on the greener side of things for the LED for this chart here. Let's get this off the table and just look at the beam profile real quick. Double click, and we're into the auxiliary mode. We can see a good diffuse beam for close-up work. It's got a little bit of a color change in the center, a little bit cooler. On the outside, it's a little bit more warmer or dirtier looking. I could say is a better way to describe it. It gets a little bit more whiter in the center on less warm tint. So I don't know if that's a thing of the TIR optic inside of it doing its thing to the beam. So that's the low mode. And let's go ahead and get the other. This is red here, constant on. And let's go back to the primary white. We have a nice tight hot spot in the center. It looks a little bit more greener yellowish than the blue around it, from what I can see with the spill. And we're going to go to a high mode from the medium mode. And again, this gets a little bit more whiter in the center, perhaps a little bit more greenish, yellowish, and definitely more blue spill on the outer part. And then finally, we're up to the brightest setting at 550 lumens, and definitely blue around the edges, and a little more whiter, less yellow, perhaps, and a little bit tint of green from what I can see. And again, that could be the TIR optic kind of messing with the LED output as well. Here we can see the Nitecore NU31 being charged. We have a current draw of 0.70 amps, and it's dropping down slowly as it gets to the top portion of the battery here, and a voltage at 5.08 volts. Again, 0.69 amps, and it's slowly dropping down in amperage to maintain the battery here. So that is the charging system from the Nitecore NU31. Overall, I like the Nitecore NU31. It's a decent headlamp with a variety of different LEDs in it. It has a close-up high auxiliary or high CRI LED, which is a good option for doing close-up work, and it has somewhat of a soft thrower primary white LED, which features the more higher end modes. And then we have a red LED for maintaining night vision and also signaling. I like the fact that it comes with a SOS and beacon mode on the primary white LED. And then I also like the fact that it has a power indicator on the side here that you can access very easily. And it features a lockout and unlockout mode, if you will, which I do value in a headlamp. Instead of wasting the batteries or accidentally turning on in your bag, you can lock it out and prevent that. It has a USB-C charging port on the bottom, which I do like, and I think it's a good idea to have that on a headlamp. Some headlamps I have are still using the micro USB type of format, which is not very rugged, so the USB-C is a good modern take on it. The headband and the bracket are decent. The teeth allow for a decent amount of angle, so this can face almost all the way down at a 90-degree angle, and it does capture a little bit. It doesn't move around as much as, say, the NU21 that I just recently reviewed. So the teeth are decent. They are plastic, however, so it does keep this lightweight and more economical, but I'd like to see more of a rigid teeth system with this headlamp in the future if they do an upgrade. The headband you can replace with a different headband if you don't like it. It's a decent headband that comes with it. Nothing much to say about it. It's kind of run-of-the-mill. It has the Nitecore logo on it, and it fits in hand and weighs a decent amount of weight. It's not too bulky, but it's not that light, so I can see myself using this for a variety of different things like hiking, camping, search and rescue on my job, etc., etc. So that's something you could look into with the Nitecore NU31. I want to thank Penny for sending this out from Nitecore. This was sent to me for review, and I think it's a decent headlamp that they have in their lineup. Again, I have several different NU headlamps of Nitecore, and I do like them all. They all have their pros and cons. Some of the cons on this one, I would say, is that it overheats pretty quickly on turbo. Maybe they've built in a better heat sinking ability on with this light, and also the high CRI light. If they could just change that a little bit more to a warmer tint, I'd be more happy. And these are just minor things that I'm pretty much nitpicking about it. But overall, it's a decent, solid headlamp. It's got an IP66 rating. I would like it to be more of a IPX7 rating, perhaps, so that it's a little bit more submersible or even fully waterproof, if you will. But for now, it does pretty well in the rain, or it's supposed to be anyway. And that's all I have to say about the Nitecore NU31. Let me know what you guys think, and enjoy your day.